Okay, welcome to our final Director Bound call. It's me and Bobby here. Whoop, whoop. Finishing this up. We're recording this so that you guys will have access to it later. And we do know that this time of year is very busy. People start making plans with family and holidays and getting to see everyone before the actual holidays. And we get it. We know that the fall is a busy time. We hope you're making time for your businesses and that you are watching these trainings later to be able to implement them, because it is crucial to grow a strong business. So far throughout the course, we've been talking about how to book shows, how to host coach once you have your shows booked, how to talk to your host about joining Pampered Chef, and how to also talk to others about joining Pampered Chef, and how that's going to help you become a director with the company. You know, there's less than 3% of us across the board with Pampered Chef here in the United States that are in director or above. So we'd love for you to join that team with us, and that's why we do this training. So this class is all about how to train and coach your new consultants. Once you have your first or second or third new person on board, how do you coach them or train them so that they can have a strong business? And that's what this class is all about. So we, of course, wanted you guys on here to tell us about what you've learned so far with this program. Have you been able to sign any new team members yet? Were you able to add new bookings to your calendar and all of that stuff? So when you watch this replay, please comment and post on our group page so we know how you're doing, and we'll be able to check in with you about all of that stuff. And of course, making sure that you guys are doing your logs and keeping track of your booking leads and your new consultant leads, because when you write it down, you have a place to reference back to and keep notes and follow up with people. I said it early on. I learned from Danielle years ago, the fortune is in the follow-up. Just having a list doesn't do you any good. You have to actually follow up with people as well. So hopefully we're doing all of that. Are we consistently doing our 3 contacts a day, 2 shows a week, and 1 new consultant a month? How are you, Bobby? You doing good with your 3, 2, 1?
I'm doing well with the 2 and the 1. I'm not as good with the 3, but doing good with the 2 and the 1.
Okay. You might be surprised how many people you actually talk to.
Yeah, I just don't track them very well, so yeah. I'll give myself a little slack on that and count myself off for it, because I need to track it better.
There you go. Yep. And then when you start actually tracking it, you'll go, oh, I might be doing 5 or 6 a day. You didn't even realize it. That's how that goes. It's been slow for me as far as my shows because I had a baby. He's 3 weeks tomorrow, but you know, whatever. No excuses, right?
That's right.
Jump right back on that bandwagon. But the rest of it, you know, I'm doing okay. Okay, so Bobby, did you get a chance to listen to the Make It a Growing Team?
I started it twice. I didn't get to finish it.
Was there any helpful takeaway you had from the first part that you listened to twice?
Really the tracking and the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I need to just be better at that.
Okay. All right.
And always talking to, like, piggybacking is a big part of it too. Always having people with me, which I have to be better at getting you guys at my shows with me. And now is a great time because I have a lot of shows. So now is a really good time. So if you see this, you want to come to a show, reach out.
To a show.
And I'll try to remember to put it on. Actually, I'm writing myself notes right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you post your schedule on the board, I want to come to one. I try to come to one of yours at least once a year, so I can see what you're doing compared to what I'm doing. And I'm always looking for room for improvement. I know Julia was talking to observe shows too, so I'll tag her. We can tag her as well.
Okay.
All right. I did not get a chance to listen to Make It a Growing Team this time around yet, but on my schedule this week is I want to go back through and do all of the training on PCU because Pampered Chef has revamped it, and I want to see what's new, what's changed, what's, you know, the steady eddies, that kind of thing. So I figure while I have some downtime with a new baby and he's sleeping, I can get some work done. So that is on my agenda this week. Okay, so you have team members. Now what do? Right? Well, you want to get to
celebrate.
Woo, celebrate, dance, run around your house crazy, and then go, Okay, good. That wasn't in front of them. Then come back and go, okay, you want to get to know them. Now, chances are if you've added a new team member, you probably know a little bit about them already. Either they're a friend of yours, it could be a family member, it could be a host that maybe you just got to know while you were doing your party. But you want to get to know them and you want to find out their reason why they decided to try Pampered Chef. And this is going to be digging a little bit deeper than just your surface level questions. And you want to keep asking that question, Okay, so, and this is what Bobby had done with me one time. She says, your real why is what brings tears. So when you're asking, okay, well, so why did you give the Pampered Chef a try? And if they say, well, I figured I could, it'd be good for me to get out of the house. Okay, well, why did you want to get out of the house? And why, and why, and why? And keep that why going until you get to the root of why they really decided to do Pampered Chef. And really, it's about the third or fourth thing that they answer is their real why for why they're doing this. If they say money, you want to find out how much money. What are they going to do with that money? How is that money going to change their family? Those kind of things. So you do want to ask some more discovery questions when you're finding out more about them and finding out about why they're doing this business. You also want to help them set goals right away, because if they can see the big picture, they're going to start working right away. And so if you're helping them set goals, Pampered Chef has a great new consultant strong start program anyways. So if you're tacking into that and letting them know that, Pampered Chef does an amazing job of helping to set us up for success. And here's how you can help with that. You want to help them fill their calendar and find out what system works for them. I'm a paper girl. You guys know that. Some people are digital. So if they're paper people, have them make sure that they're marking out all the time that they have committed to their day job, to their families, to their volunteer obligations, all of that stuff, and then be able to fill Pampered Chef in on the days that they don't have other obligations. You also want to make time with them to play with their new tools, and we do a lot of that at training. So if you're not coming to training and you're local, you need to be. If you're not local and want to come to training, we can hook you up with someone who's local to you to be able to go to training. But the bulk of it is set some goals, get to know them, help them work on booking their first parties, and also, getting them hooked into some training. Okay, so here's what when we're coaching our new consultants, we coach them so that way when they have support, and hopefully Bobby and I do an okay job of supporting you guys. I know we're big cheerleaders. We're not so good at the tough love thing, but we'll cheer you on every day of the week. But when you have support and someone's there helping you, then that usually helps consultants feel like they have the confidence to start strong and to stay active with their business. Here are 3 things that new consultants need. They need guidance from the get-go, from the very first time that they sign in. They need some guidance. They need to know what to do. Because here's the thing. If your new consultant was a host first, you heard me tell you in host coaching, they do not know how to have a good party. It's our job to teach them. Same thing comes when they decide to join Pampered Chef. They do not know how to do this business. We need to teach them. And if your business is not in a place where you want it to be at, then you need to be getting some guidance from your upline so that you can give guidance to your new people. Because if you're not at a point where you're like, I'm making the money I want to make, this is what's working for me, then you don't want to pass on that negativity saying, well, I only do this much, so I don't really make a ton of money. You want to be able to guide them in a positive way from the very beginning. And if that's something that you can't do yet because you're not at that position, then connect them with one of us that can give them some guidance. And you guys can listen in on those phone calls or be in a group chat with us while we're coaching them, because those kind of things are going to help you for the next person. Also structured check-ins, and I'm going to get to this in a minute when I talk to you about the Strong Start New Consultant Program that Pampered Chef has for us, and it's super easy to follow along with. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. But structured check-ins is basically pivotal points where you want to be able to touch base with your new consultant to make sure that they're working their business, to make sure that they don't have any questions for you, to make sure that they know how to navigate the website, those kind of things, and just help along the way. I usually say I'm available all the time for my new consultants if they need me, but you never have to be available all the time. If you don't feel like you have to be by your phone 24/7, you have a life, you have a family, they'll get that. They're not expecting you to return a call or a text immediately, but if you do it in a reasonable amount of time, then they're still going to be able to reach out to you. Most of the times I'll purposely wait about 45 minutes or an hour before I'll circle back around to answer that text message or Facebook message. And by that point, they've already figured it out on their own. And it gives them the ability to do a little bit of research, find out what they need. And then when I touch base and say, okay, hey, I got the baby down, I saw your message come through. Do you still need help with this? Most of the time they say, nope, I figured it out. But you still want to make sure that you're available, but just, understand.
I like that too, because it encourages them and empowers them to feel more confident.
Yes.
They worry that they're bugging us too much, number one, or they worry that they don't have the answers when they realize that they actually can.
They can find it. And it's not that, and our system's not that hard to navigate anyways, once you and I always tell them, you can't break anything on here. Like right. You can mess with all the buttons, push everything you want to push. You're not going to break anything. You're totally fine. I said, worst case scenario, if you set up a party and you screw it up, we can delete it and start again.
Right.
That's it. We're good. But definitely you want to be able to help them along the way without feeling like you're taking too much time away from your family, without feeling like, you are constantly overwhelmed, because that's not where we want you to be either. But we definitely want to make sure that you're offering help along the way. So there's 5 easy ways to coach new team members. Of course, positive conversations is one, because brand new people are either really, really excited or they quickly get discouraged. That's my experience. They're excited, and when they're excited, they jump off, they book parties, they hit their sales goal, they do all these great things. And when they book their first party and nobody buys anything or nobody shows up, then they get discouraged. And then they want to say, well, this isn't for me. And you want to be able to steer those kind of conversations towards a more positive basically letting them know that it happens to everyone, bringing it back around to a positive conversation. Remind them of why they started Pampered Chef. That's going back to the very first beginning of why they started. And if it was money and you say, okay, well, Bobby, when we talked, when you first started this, your goal was to make $500 a month because you wanted to be able to make the car payments for your kids, whatever it is. I'm just making something up. Mm-hmm. Or you wanted to be able to pay for college, or you wanted to be able to have save for this vacation, whatever the reason was, and I know that right now you're a little discouraged, but let's work on getting back to that, and let's brainstorm a way that we can get back on track. And you can brainstorm with them and pick a challenge. Right now we have a baking challenge going on with our team page. So if you haven't seen that yet, there is one on there that you can join us with, because it is the baking season. So why not sell some baking pans? But that's a great way to offer a challenge to them, to book more parties, to sell more stuff, that kind of thing. And then ask permission to hold them accountable. So once you've brainstormed and you've picked a challenge and you said, okay, Bobby, over the next 72 hours, you're going to be working on making phone calls to get new parties booked on your schedule. How many parties do you think you'll be able to book in that time? And I'll just throw out
the next 72 hours? Okay. Yeah. 4.
Okay, so in 72 hours, I'm going to follow up with you and see how you did. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Yeah. So you're asking permission for them to let you hold you accountable. And then the key is you need to follow back in 4 days or 3 days and say, okay, so when we talked 3 days ago, I know we made this goal. You wanted to book 4 new shows. How'd you do? And if they did not do their job, then go back to that brainstorm, go back and pick a challenge, set a new goal, make it a shorter time frame. Okay, let's do this in 24 hours now. You already had 72, and then hold them accountable again. And if after the 3rd or 4th time they haven't done what they've said they're going to do, then you might want to say, okay, Bobby, you know what? It sounds like you're really busy right now. Why don't we circle back to this in a week or so and see how life's treating you? Because they might be in a position right now where they feel very overwhelmed and they can't do it.
Right.
And you don't want to totally give up on them, but you want to, again, ask permission to be able to circle back to them and follow up with them and see how life is, and maybe get through Thanksgiving and then follow up that next week and work on, getting them back up. But also, you're going to help to motivate them when you give them some recognition. People love recognition. So when they submit their first party, when they add their first team member, when they hit the sales promotion for the month, whatever it is that they've done, you want to be able to recognize them. You can always recognize them on our team pages. We love that. They would love it also when you recognize them on their personal pages, because then their family and friends see what they're doing and they encourage them and motivate them. And then you have those people that come out and go, oh, I didn't know you were doing Pampered Chef, because they haven't told everyone yet. So definitely, you do this whole meaningful recognition thing. Give them a reason to be excited and proud of what they're doing, by you recognizing them. And we do this a lot at our team meetings as well. Okay, so I'm going to briefly go over the New Consultant Strong Start program, and then I'm going to show you where to find this on Consultants Corner. So this was developed by some of our top leaders with the company, and it's based on a series of phone calls. Now, I know a lot of you do virtual businesses, so if the phone scares you to death, you can definitely do this with your team members virtually. Text message, Facebook message, whatever way you're already communicating with them. And I know a lot of people are using the text or the Facebook messages instead of phone calls. If you can do the phone call, I would try to make time to, because then you can kind of hear tone and inflection and those kind of things a little bit easier. But you're going to do them in 5 different ways. First one is within 24 to 48 hours of them joining your team. Second one is 2 days later. Third call is before their first show. And then you want to call them after their first show. And then you want to move to what's called show-based coaching. So as your new team member has a show, you want to make sure that you're putting it on your calendar, they're putting it on theirs, and that it is the consultant's job to call you after their show and tell you how it went. And we're going to walk through that. So the first call is really just to get to know the new consultant. And you want to really schedule about 45 minutes for this call. It's going to be the one that takes the longest out of all the calls. You're getting to know them, you're finding out their why, and you're helping them find their first 4 to 6 parties in their first 30 days. And the reason why you try to do that in their first 30 days, and I usually tell them their first 30 to 40 days, because that's the time frame Pampered Chef gives them to hit their first sales goal. And 4 parties is going to get them that $1,250 every single time. As long as they're working on all this training we're teaching them, they're going to be able to hit that goal. And it's going to help them get off to a strong start. It's going to help them be excited about Pampered Chef and continue with their business. If they don't do shows in their first 30 days, they're most likely not going to ever do them. They're going to lose interest. They're going to give up. They're going to feel like, well, what's the point? I already missed my window to get this thing for free. You want to encourage them to book the parties and help them keep them on their schedule. So this first call takes the most time, because it is going to go through all that. And I'll break down more information on those when I get into Consultants Corner. The second call, okay, let me back up. In call number 1, you're going to help them set a booking goal. So their goal for the next 48 hours is to book however many shows they say they want to book. And then when you circle back in 48 hours, you want to see how their bookings went. You want to help them build attendance for their launch party, because at that first call, you're setting that launch date with them so that you can help get their business off to a great start. So you want to check in and see how their attendance is going, give them ideas for more people to invite. It's the exact same process we go through with host coaching. You're going to go through that process with your new consultant for her own launch party or his own launch party. You want to tell them about the opportunity to earn an extra $2,000 by following Pampered Chef's Fast Track program, and put that in front of them, because you never know if that's a carrot that they want dangled for something that they can go after. You want to briefly tell them about host coaching, and because once they've started booking their first parties, they need to know how to coach their host to have a good show. And if you'll notice, this is all building on every skill we've learned so far in this series, is you're now teaching this to your consultant. And you want to help them write their story. So their story is, what was their life like before Pampered Chef? Why did they start Pampered Chef? What are they looking forward to with having this new business? Answering those 3 questions, 45 seconds to a minute, and then they're good to go. Okay, the third call happens before their first party. So 2 to 3 days before their first party, you want to check in, see how they're doing, see how their attendance is going for their first party. You want to talk to them about how to share the business at that show. They're going to be super nervous. I always let my new people know that, you wouldn't know it looking at me now 7 years later, but on the way to my very first party, I threw up on the side of the road. I was terrified. I was shaking. I said, if it had been one of those cartoon things, you would have seen all the pit, sweats happening, because I was like super sweaty, shaking like this. And I left that party and called my husband and I said, I did not even tell them the specials. It's the only party I don't remember what we cooked. Blocked it out. But just know that you're a beginner, and give yourself permission to be a beginner. And don't feel like you have to go into that first party knowing everything. People are going to ask you questions you don't know the answer to anyways. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm brand new at this and I don't know the answer to that yet, but I can find out and get back to you. That's totally acceptable. You want to kind of help guide them over words to say about how to get bookings. The cool thing is, if they're following along in their 5x7 cards that come in their new consultant kit, Pampered Chef gives them all the words to say. It helps to kind of make it a little bit more personal, but if they ever get stuck, they have a place to start. And help them build excitement for their first party. It's a little scary, yes, but you have to get over the first few. I always like to say that's why I try to get all of my new people to schedule 3 or 4 parties kind of in a row, because it gets over that fear quickly. Do the same recipe at all of them, because then it's no longer about the recipe. It's about how you're interacting with everyone else during the recipe. So you're going to kind of want to go over some of this stuff before their first party without overwhelming them or making them feel scared, but kind of do it as a more relaxed thing. Okay, after their first party, you want to see how everything went. Okay, what did you like about the party? What is something that you might do differently next time? Did you have anyone who wanted to book their own party? Okay, why or why not? And if they didn't have anyone who wanted to book a party, my follow-up question is always, was there someone who was the life of the party? If there was someone who got everyone's attention, who was interacting the most, that's the person I'm going to go to book a party, whether or not they told me they wanted to have one. And you call them the next day and you say, oh my gosh, Bobby, you were so much fun at that party last night. And I'm going to start with, have you ever thought about doing something like this? You would be an amazing addition to my team. Because everyone already loves you. And if she's like, oh my gosh, no, I can't do that. Well, you know what? You were having so much fun over there. I would love to be able to come pamper you and your friends with a fun party of your own. What do you think about that? And you want to be able to talk to them about how to book those parties if they leave a show and they don't have any bookings from it. Same thing with recruit leads. If they don't have anyone who is interested in the business, you want to, again, try to find that person who you think would be great for this business, but they might not see it yet. You want to teach them how to do customer care. Pampered Chef has a 222. Did we go over that while I was on having a baby? Was that during one of those calls?
I think we did it beforehand.
I couldn't remember if I did it or if it was one of the calls.
Yeah, I think you did it beforehand.
Okay, so the 222, if you teach that and you start doing it right away, it's much easier to continue it. It's harder for some of us old dogs to go back and start, because we have so many shows and people under our belts that we're like, where do we even begin? But when you're just getting started, if you can teach and be consistent with 2 days after you've met them, follow up. 2 weeks after they've gotten their products, make sure they're using it. 2 months after your last phone call to see if they needed anything else. Those kind of things to be able to follow up. And then you want to be teaching, of course, your new people how to build a team right away, especially if they have someone who comes to their grand opening party and it's like, hey, I want to do this too. It happens. It happened to Bobby. It happened to me. It happens. So you want to be able to let them know to expect that and that it's okay. They're not losing any business. The show-based coaching part comes after each party. You always want to celebrate their success of what went well at their shows. you want to help give suggestions for improvement by asking those questions of, well, what did you think went well? Where did you think, what happened? Did anything happen that you didn't like or that you would have changed next time? That kind of thing, you know, asking those open-ended questions, but of course, lots of encouragement, and then focus on those goals with them. So if their goal is, you know, I want a $400 party, she had 5 people there, but she only is at 250. Okay, well, now how can we get her to 400? Or now how can we get her to the next level? So that's show-based coaching. It's going to help you work with them on their shows once they've had them and they can tell you how everything went. And once you do this a few times, they'll start knowing what you're looking for, and they'll start answering the questions before you've asked them, which is kind of fun. Okay, I'm going to close out of this real quick. Let me, where is Pampered Chef? Cancel. I don't know. Okay, let me stop my share, and then let me pull up my web page. I'm going to show you on Consultants Corner where to find this, because Pampered Chef has a pretty cool, let me see if it'll let me share now. Okay, so when you are on Consultants Corner, I'm here in Pampered Chef University. Of course, if you have not had a chance to take these trainings yet, go through them. This is my goal this week. I'm going to go back through all of these, but the very last one in Pampered Chef University is coaching new consultants. And I wanted to point out, under this peer sharing resources, there's an audio you can listen to that's going to walk you through how to work with your new consultants. And the thing I wanted to point out here is, and I hope you can see my mouse, is this section here, this coaching basics and instructions and resources. This is what I use. I printed out this entire thing. It's 26 pages. And then I printed it out single-sided, and I put them in page protectors. So I can use them from consultant to consultant, and it doesn't get all gross. But this basically walks you through how to have this in a binder. Those of you who have a business in a binder set up, or that you plan to have a business in a binder set up, this can be a section in your binder so you can take it with you on the go. But it's going to walk you through how to set up your entire book, how to manage your time to be able to talk to your new consultants. It's going to give you a first coaching call checklist. Here are things for your reference point. Here are checkpoints so you can make sure that you talk to each consultant about each of these things. How to get their first party booked, where to find their training to get their first parties booked. You know, all of these kind of things. It's going to give you things to actually say to them. You know, it's going to give you the word choices so that you can find out their why, so that you can help them come up with an action plan. This is an amazing resource to go through and look at them. And then you want to see, it gives you here, I'm going to highlight, it gives you word choices. So if you're like, I don't even know what to say, read through this before you make your phone call. Read through it before you start your text message, because it's going to help you figure out what to say to them. It's going to give you some action steps. Okay, hey, this is what we need to do before your next call. If you notice, we've been doing this with you guys for each of our director bound calls. Okay, before our next call, we need you to listen to this audio. We need you to complete this homework and then have it ready for our next chat. Some of you have been doing your homework, some of you have not, and you know who you are. But those of you who have, you know that we're assigning it for a reason. You're going to be doing the same thing with your new consultants. There is a method behind why you want to assign them homework. You want them to be learning, and then you're going to come back and follow up on what they've learned. And that's any job for you. If you were to start any job, you're going to have your first 2 weeks for training anyways. You know, think of it just like that here. Your first 2 weeks are your training weeks. Your first month is your training month, however you want to look at it. But 26 pages, worth printing out, having it here. Great word choices for you. There's also in that same section, there's this touch point guide. And the touch point guide is going to talk through where home office is going to be touching base with your new consultant. So it's going to go right along the thing here. We're on day 1. Here's what Pampered Chef is going to send to them. On day 3, here's what Pampered Chef's going to send. On day 4, day 5, whatever it is, Pampered Chef is sending them information. And then it's going to tell you on the right-hand side, here's how you can support what Pampered Chef is doing. It's going to say, okay, you're going to be telling them, welcome to my team. Be looking for a series of emails from Pampered Chef that are going to guide you every step of the way. I like to let them know that Pampered Chef is going to give them just-in-time training because it's going to happen just in the time they need it. So when they're first getting started, they don't quite know what to do yet, but Pampered Chef is going to send them a little email that's going to tell them, hey, here's the first steps to do. We want to work on taking that booking course and how to book your first parties, and here's how to do that. So this is walking them, that touch point guide is walking them through their first 90 days. And again, it's going to give you where you can assist and what Pampered Chef is going to do. There's also in that same section under resources, home office's touch points and the coach's role. This goes into more detail on that touch point guide. So if you're looking at, here's the email on the left-hand side of what Pampered Chef's going to send. Here's how you can help focus on the right-hand side. So each of these in this Coaching New Consultants course on PCU, it's going to go over more detailed information on how to do that first coaching call within 24 hours. It's going to give you all of the resources you'll need for your new consultant during that. It's going to give you some table talk, which is, I'll click on one so you can see it. It's basically a transcript of a call, of a script that they've already done before. And it's going to give you questions to ask for how to find their why. Why did you become a Pampered Chef consultant? How much money would you like to earn each month toward that goal? I'm so excited to be working with you. Tell me a little bit more about what you're looking to get from this business. If you don't know the words to say, click on those table talks because they will give you the words to say for any one of these calls. And I just lost I closed all of my tabs and see if it'll sign me back in. Okay, so again, when you're here on Consultants Corner, you're going to be going to training and then Pampered Chef University to get back to where I just was that I exited out of. And then new consultant start here is fine, but again, coaching new consultants is where we're at. But it's going to go through more detailed information for that first, second, third, fourth, and how to keep coaching them after their first parties. So that is how to coach your new consultants. Bobby, what do you think? I mean, you're the one who told me about this. You learned about it at conference almost 3 years ago, right?
Right.
And I didn't learn about it until 2 years ago when she was like, oh, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm like, well, I didn't take that class.
I think when you use it, it works fantastically.
It does.
And you made a comment earlier where you said if you just start this now rather than trying to learn it later, once you've already established a different habit, you're better off.
You are.
So it's real important as you start bringing new people in to just do it right off the bat.
Exactly. And if you guys have ever heard me quote Rory Vaden, do it scared. He wrote a book, couple of books.
Take the Stairs and Procrastinate on Purpose.
Yeah, Take the Stairs is the one. So that talks about, doing it scared. And it's okay. It's okay to be scared and not know what you're doing, but you need to start. And the only way to get better in your role as a consultant and a leader with the company is to, just do it and figure it out as you go along. And when I first started doing the consultant new Strong Start, I called my new consultants that I had added the previous year. And I said, listen, I didn't know this training existed. I want to learn how to do this well. And I don't feel like I did a good job coaching you because, life gets crazy. Is it okay if we go through this as if you're a new consultant so I can learn? And so we can do this together. And they said, sure, let's do it. So even if you're thinking, I haven't done this yet, I don't even know where to start, just go back to your last newest consultant and say, you know what? I'm just now learning this program and I would love to be able to use you as a guinea pig so that we can learn together. I want to hone my skills as a trainer with the company. And, I think that this could be beneficial. What do you think? And just start because,
Exactly.
yeah. So that's my tip there, my advice for coaching new consultants. We're hoping that you guys have learned something, a little bit of something from having this course happen, and the ability to be able to learn a little bit more for how to grow your business and how to make Pampered Chef be as successful as you want it to be. Our jobs as your trainers and leaders is to help you be as successful with this company as you want to be. And if that's saying, you know what, I'm not quite ready for directorship yet, but I want to keep working towards that, that's okay. We're not going to look at that and go, oh, we're not going to help, because our job is to train you where you are. Our job is not to train you where we want you to be. We know what you're capable of, even if you don't know what you're capable of yet. But our job is to train you where you are. And if you're saying, you know what, I've got a lot going on right now, and this is great information, but I don't have time to implement it, we're going to say, okay, can we follow up with you in a couple of months and see how life's treating you? Because we know you'd be great at this. And let's work towards these steps. I say this all the time to people, your people's lives change every 3 months. So if now's not a good time, 3 months from now, it might be a little bit better, And so it just, we'll work with you where you are. That's our job. That's our goal, is to help you, again, be as successful as you want to be. If you're looking at your business and saying, I'm not making the kind of money I thought I'd be making, take a serious look at your business. How much time are you giving it? Are you taking the training? Are you talking to people? Are you booking your parties? Are you coaching your host so that they can have stronger shows? Are you putting in the steps that you would need to put in? I always say that, yes, this is a flexible job, but if you want to make money, the hours are flexible, not optional. You can work them whenever you want to, but if you want to make money, you got to still work them, right? Okay, any last minute advice for everyone before we sign off?
You know what? We talked about doing it scared. You also just have to, like you just mentioned, how much time are you actually putting into it? I know we both had a pretty busy weekend, and we're tired.
Mm-hmm.
And still here we are. You've got to do it not only scared, but do it tired. Do it, you just have to do it. You have to push through some of those things sometimes, because success is on the other side of that.
It is.
I'm a runner, and what we have to teach our bodies to do is to push through the discomfort. That's the only way we can keep running past, even to the first mile. The first mile is actually the worst mile.
It is.
But you have to learn to push through the discomfort. And that's where I think a lot of people stop their businesses, is they don't push through the discomfort of either picking up the phone or getting a rejection or getting a cancellation, or, the discomfort of having to book around or schedule around a new baby, schedule around the things that are going on in your life. You have to remember that why. And if the why is strong enough to push through that discomfort, well, then the discomfort's not there anymore. Then it gets smoother and easier. Like, oh, well, that was not so bad.
Yeah.
You just have to push through that.
Yeah. My photographer came today and she goes, I keep seeing your Pampered Chef posts on Facebook, and I'm thinking, girl, you just had a baby, slow down. And I go, the fall is my busiest selling season. And if I'm going to have a business in January, I still have to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she goes, oh, I didn't think about that.
Related to your photography, you can't just wait for the phone to call.
No.
You have to reach out. You got to put yourself out there.
Yes, definitely. So, hopefully, and of course, I'm crazy. Everyone says that anyways. It's fine. The baby is fine. He's fed. He sleeps when he needs to sleep. I don't work all the time. I work when he's sleeping. But sometimes I watch him sleep, and then I wonder why I'm tired. But, he's just so adorable.
That's right.
Those people who say you shouldn't watch a baby sleep clearly have never watched a baby sleep, because
that's right.
They would totally be doing it. Anyways, but we are here for you. We're here to encourage you. We're here to kick your butt when you need us to. We're here to, motivate you and hopefully train you and teach you something that can help you propel your business in the motion you want it to go.
That's right.
So we are going to sign off. We are going to be offering this class again in the spring to get ready for conference. Yeah.
Yes.
Push them. So if you did not have a chance to take this class with us all the way through and you want to redo, you can have a redo. We'll let you come back. We love you guys. We hope you're having a great week. I'll post this video so you guys can comment and know that we're thinking of you.
Yay!
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one. I got to figure out how to stop this thing. It's been too long since I've done it. Oh, I figured it out. Okay. Bye, guys.
There you go. See ya.